The main point, Amy, is that we are not using diplomacy. We are using weaponry. This sale now announced to Taiwan that you've been discussing this morning is just another case in point. This does not make Taiwan safer. This does not make the world safer. It certainly doesn't make the United States safer. This goes back a long way. I think it's useful to start 30 years ago. The Soviet Union ended, and some American leaders got it into their head that there was now what they called the unipolar world, that the U.S. was the sole superpower and we could run the show. The results have been disastrous. We have had now 3 decades of militarization of American foreign policy. A new database that Tufts is maintaining has just shown that there have been more than 100 military interventions by the United States since 1991.
That's crazy.
It's really unbelievable. And I have seen in my own experience over the last 30 years, working extensively in Russia, in Central Europe, in China, and in other parts of the world, how the U.S. approach is a military first and often a military only approach. We arm who we want. We call for NATO enlargement no matter what other countries say may be harmful to their security interests. We brush aside anyone else's security interests. And when they complain, we ship more armaments to our allies in that region. We go to war when we want, where we want, whether it was Afghanistan or Iraq or the covert war against Assad in Syria, which is even today not properly understood by the American people, or the war in Libya. And we say, we're peace loving. What's wrong with Russia and China? They are so warlike. They're out to undermine the world. And we end up in terrible confrontations. The war in Ukraine, just to finish the introductory view, could have been avoided and should have been avoided through diplomacy. What President Putin of Russia was saying for years was, do not expand NATO into the Black Sea, not to Ukraine, much less to Georgia, which if people look on the map, straight across to the eastern edge of the Black Sea. Russia said, this will surround us, this will jeopardize our security, let us have diplomacy. The United States rejected all diplomacy. I tried to contact the White House at the end of 2021. In fact, I did contact the White House and said, there will be war unless the U.S. enters diplomatic talks with President Putin over this question of NATO enlargement. I was told the U.S. will never do that. That is off the table. And it was off the table. Now we have a war that's extraordinarily dangerous, and we are taking exactly the same tactics in East Asia that led to the war in Ukraine. We're organizing alliances, building up weaponry, trash-talking China, having Speaker Pelosi fly to Taiwan when the Chinese government said, please lower the temperature, lower the tensions. We say, no, we do what we want, and now send more arms. This is a recipe for yet another war.
What is going on out there, peeps? Oh yes, there's a lot going on at one time. I spoke about this several times, that the United States has been bullying people now for quite some time. You're starting to see a lot more nations get tired of it. More and more as we go along. We are definitely sitting on a time bomb. Last Thursday, I believe it was Putin and Xi Jinping had met. I'm sure what they wanted to go over is how it is to get away from the US dollar, along with a lot of other things that were going on around the world. Next thing you know, we hear that when Xi Jinping landed on this plane, he was arrested. We believe there's a coup taking place at the moment. In addition to that, there was a so-called assassination plot against Putin. I want you to think about this for just a moment. When we have this whole new world order agenda taking place, the two main leaders that appear to be fighting this agenda, the World Economic Forum's Great Reset, was Xi Jinping and Putin. At least that's what it really appeared like. And now we notice that ever since they started to put their plan in motion to create their own reserve dollar, one has been arrested and the other one had an assassination attempt against him. Boy, these World Economic Forum people are very powerful. If they could take out two superpower leaders just like that, that just shows you the strength of this organization. It's going to make it very hard for anybody to fight their agenda if they can easily go in there and go after Trump, go after Xi Jinping, and go after Putin. That's something else. Before we get started though, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, and now is the time to buy, go to our friends over at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free ½ ounce of silver. Yeah, it's a little warm today in case you can't see. First things first, this came out a few hours ago. It says Putin has escaped to a secret palace in a forest amid anti-draft protesters in Russia's cities. Anti-draft protesters? That's what's doing it? What happened to the good old days of the Soviet Union? When any type of protest like that would happen, the military would be out there in a hot second to stop it. I don't think this has anything to do with protests. I think Putin is hearing what's going on with Xi Jinping. We know that long ago there was an assassination attempt on Putin. Somebody tried to poison him, somebody close to him. So definitely there are people trying to take out Putin and Xi Jinping. Between them and Trump, those would be the three main people standing in the way of this World Economic Forum's Great Reset agenda. It says Vladimir Putin has escaped to a secret palace amid anti-draft protests in Russia, per report. That sounds more like a CIA operation. It says 724 people were detained across 32 different cities on Saturday. Putin intends to stay in the palace until Thursday. We'll see what happens. Again, there's more to the story than people are saying. I'm sure what's going on with Xi Jinping has a lot to do with why he's there as well. I'm sure Putin is very concerned about what's going on with Xi, because that would seem to be his only ally at the time. So there you have it. That's one rumor that's going around, is that Putin has escaped to a cabin amid a bunch of protests over the draft. What do you think is really going on? Here is the latest and the greatest on Xi Jinping. It says, is China having a coup and is Xi Jinping under house arrest? Here's what we know. Now again, these are only rumors at the moment, but I'm sure they're rumors that Putin is concerned about, without a doubt. This is rumors of a coup against Chinese President Xi Jinping are going around on social media, but experts have highlighted that there is no concrete evidence of a coup and any disturbance in China so far. Not true. We've seen the military moving around, tanks and vehicles moving around within China. So there's definitely something there. Something like 6,000 domestic flights have been canceled in and out of China. And Xi Jinping has not been in the public since his return trip last Thursday after visiting with Putin. The reason why this is a time bomb is this. Russia has nuclear weapons. China has nuclear weapons. Do I think they're capable of using them? I think if they feel like they're being attacked, it's always a possibility. We are being told that Russia was invading Ukraine because Russia's the bad people. When we find out that it was the United Nations and NATO, they were moving rockets into Ukraine, and that was a no-no. You heard what that report said at the beginning of this video. The United States has just been running willy-nilly around the world, doing whatever the hell they want, and using the United Nations and NATO to do this. So that was a straw that broke the camel's back, I think, for Russia. Now, I'm still shocked that Russia has not been a lot more aggressive and a lot more quicker about taking out Ukraine. There's just something questionable about that. We also heard that Xi Jinping was going into Taiwan. They felt bold enough to go ahead and take it. The United States has a weak leader. They didn't feel like Biden was going to be a threat. So is there a coup going on? General Li Qianming is likely to succeed President Xi. Now, he's a hardliner. He's a hardliner communist. So why would the Communist Party be going after Xi? It's very interesting. I know there's a split within the Communist Party as to the support for Xi. Somebody had mentioned that this might be a way for Xi Jinping to weave out who his real enemies are. It could be. We're not sure. Everything right now is just rumors at the moment. Let's hear what the media says from overseas just a little bit.
You're watching Nation at 9. I'm Devika Chopra, and we continue our focus on China. Well, if all is not well in China, then what is really the future of Xi Jinping and the CCP? Remember, Xi has held all the strings in China, from being the president, the general secretary of the CCP, the commander-in-chief of the PLA, and the general secretary of the Central Military Mission, amongst other posts. If Xi is to be overthrown, then the next in line is most likely to be General Li Qianming. He's a PLA general of the Northern Theatre Command. What could be the possible fallout, and what really is in store for China if these rumors of the military coup are to be believed and do turn out to be true? Joining me on the broadcast is also Professor Madhav Nalapath, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian. Let me begin the conversation with Professor Nalapath. Professor Nalapath, what do you make out, sir, of these rumors that have began? Because we've been trying to understand, while the rumors come from an unverified account, there's a lot that has happened surrounding them as far as the plane, the flight cancellations are concerned, the military convoy is concerned. There has not been much of a clarification, neither from the Chinese government, from the foreign ministry, or even from the Chinese media on what's really going on. And the Chinese media is always very quick to respond.
Media is very quick to respond about other countries. I'm not very sure that they got a very good record of talking about themselves with any degree of accuracy when they don't want to be accurate. I just remind you that every single military officer in the PLA has given a personal oath of loyalty to General Secretary Xi Jinping. By the way, the only job that he has, which is the all important, President of China, actually that's a title that all of us have made up. There is really no president in China. The General Secretary runs the state. He runs the party, and the party runs the state. So that is the situation. Everybody has signed a personal oath to him. The last time I heard about this was when every German soldier in the Wehrmacht gave a personal oath to Adolf Hitler. Look, right. I'm quite frankly, from the very beginning, I have been discounting these stories of a coup against Xi Jinping. Long back, there was a story about General V.K. Singh leading a coup against the then UPA government. Frankly, my first response, I think on television, was to have a good laugh. Thank God for that story, because I had not laughed in some time, and I was very happy to have the laugh. Look, I want to point out one small little fact. If there was this kind of terrific activity going on, there's a little compound in China called Zongnanhai. And in Zongnanhai, the gate is called Xinhua Gate. If you look at the photographs of Xinhua Gate today, yesterday, day before, you will see completely a normal day, a very lazy, sleepy, normal day. If there was really this kind of activity taking place, that gate would be swarming with people. Big cars going in, going out, armed police everywhere. I'm sorry, I've seen some images of Xinhua Gate for the last few days. I've not seen anything unusual. Look, there are two or three explanations. One, it could be that Xi Jinping has been told, look, you can get a third term, but you can't be the Central Military Commission chairman.
Right.
You remember Hu Jintao, for 2 years, the first 2 years of his general secretaryship, he was not the chairman. Jiang Zemin remained chairman. It could be that. It could also be that Xi Jinping has ordered the military and the whole country to go in for some kind of a mock drill. And we are talking in terms of airfields in Tibet. I don't know if these are accurate, being denuded of aircraft, airfields in the east coast of China. East coast faces Taiwan, Tibet faces the Himalayan Massif. Now, these are two obvious zones which are threatened by China. Whether this is a kind of an elaborate military drill to kind of check preparedness for some kind of an attack, or for an attack on China, if there is an attack, God knows what. But personally, in my view, I would discount these stories. I don't believe that, knowing the party in China, quite frankly, and knowing the way Xi Jinping has eliminated the enemies of the past, even those who have no power today.
Right.
He has humiliated them, the present enemies and the future enemies. If he thought, for example, Sumit or me or the general were going to challenge him in the future, believe me, if we were in China, we would have to have some very good life insurance for our families. So he has done a very good job of eliminating his enemies yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Is he in danger? Well, he's maybe in danger from a virus, but I don't see him being in danger from the CCP or the PLA.
Okay, very interesting points. So, Dr. Rajul, let me bring you back into the conversation. Whether there is a coup or not, like I said, only time will tell. Do you believe that somewhere perhaps the fact that there has not been even a concerted effort to kill these rumors of a coup perhaps shows that there is someone or something that's happening within China? There are people who definitely want this messaging or this chaos or confusion to take place right before the CCP meet. Is that a possibility?
Yes, Devika. I have to tell you that before the 20th Party's Congress, this is a time that we see the condensation of rumors. All kinds of rumors will be spreading around from different portals because, well, we have to admit the fact that what Xi Jinping has been doing for the past few years has infuriated a lot of people within the party. He has created a large, a number of enemies on the opposite side of his. But that is very different from whether there is a group or a faction which is strong enough to challenge, to successfully even overthrow Xi Jinping's total control within the party. I don't think it's happened. Because we have to remember there are two successful military coups in the history of Chinese Communist Party. The first one took place in 1964, which is initiated by Mao Zedong. He is like the supreme leader that has total control of the military. So he launched this surroundings of the capital city of Beijing and the central government to get rid of his political enemy Liu Shaoqi, who was the president of the state during that time. And after that, we know the Cultural Revolution was initiated in 1965 till 1975 for 10 years. And right after that, after the death of Mao Zedong, which happens in 1976, that is another successful military coup initiated by Marshal Ye Jianyin, who controls the military, and with Deng Xiaoping, who is like the practical leader within the party. Well, so the key here is that whoever controls the barrels of a gun or the handles of a knife, they refer it to the security force, will have the power to do that. And now we know who have the total control is Xi Jinping himself, because people has been partially ensured the change of the CMC, the Central Military Commission, the personnel has been, people has been sure that in the new reshuffle of the CMC, more than half of the people will belong to Xi's faction.
So as you can see, there's a lot of activity going on with both Xi as well as Putin. And you can even add on top of that Trump. Look, there is definitely something brewing. We have our own intelligence agencies violating people's constitutional rights everywhere. This World Economic Forum's Great Reset agenda, is this all part of it? Who knows? But it certainly appears that way. How is it that two leaders of two big countries, considered a superpower at one time, both having personal issues in their country with their own government after they've plotted to start their own reserve dollar and get away from the use of the US dollar, as well as return this back to sound money, which is gold, which in my opinion would definitely be an attack against the central bank digital currency. Anyways, me and Doc hopefully later on will have an opportunity to expand on this a lot more in detail on Pimpy's news network, but I just thought I would share this with you because this does affect all the markets, especially if something happens to these two, the gold standard. You guys let me know what you think down below. I look forward to your comments. Anyways, that's it for now. I'm out.